back, fool. I've got a bomb. Huh? All right.
Hello everybody, Erik back with another unboxing for you. Welcome back to the Adventures in Collecting YouTube channel, where today we are unboxing, we have a twofer. So we are unboxing the McFarlane Toys DC Universe Arkham Asylum Batman and the Joker. Super excited to have both of these figures finally on hand. We saw them back at Toy Fair in New York back in February, which feels like an eternity ago. But happy to finally have them. I pre-ordered them from Best Buy. They arrived perfectly on time, as I expected them to. I got ones, just telling from the outside of the package, I got ones with really good paint jobs. I know some of them have, unfortunately, because Batman, this version of Batman does have the pupils through the cowl, some people are getting a little bit of askew eyes. Luckily, that is not the case for me. So let's just go over the packaging super quick before we dive in and open them up. Just like the other DC Multiverse figures, which you can see a couple back there. The package is the same. These are technically part of the Wonder Woman wave with the Wonder Woman 84 figures. So on the back of the package, you can see their fellow wave mates. I believe the Detective Comics Batman that is featured on the back is that blue and gray variant of the original one that came out in the first wave. But, you know, you have your nice big picture of Batman from the Arkham Asylum game there. Nice big window in front, accessories fully on display, and then, you know, his name across the back, which is great for when you are peg hunting. It's very clear that you have the Batman that you are looking for. Same goes for the Joker. So nice big window, accessories on display, wave mates on the back, and again the name. So without further delay, let's open them up and see what we've got going on here. This is not only one of my favorite video game franchises of all time, but I love, and I'm going to start with the Joker here. I love the fact that, you know, it's Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill doing the voices, which I think in terms of Batman and the Joker, I mean, it's, how could you argue that? Getting a lifelike version of the two of them is just incredible. So just like the other packages, of course, you can see you get the display base and the card, and through the magic of editing, I'll be back in a second, and we will have them out of the package, and we'll talk about how they look. Alright, so we are out of the package, and like I mentioned, we're going to start here with the Joker. I am just giddy to finally have this likeness as a figure. I did recently just replay through these games. I'm actually just finishing Arkham Knight again, and it's just so cool to finally have these. So let's talk about the paint and detail before we get into the articulation. This likeness is cool as hell. It's interesting because it is very much so the Arkham Asylum looking Joker, but it has more of a, it doesn't have the kind of lifelike feel that the one in the video game had. Like, I mean, you could see, you know, cracks in his face and things like that. This is pretty smooth. His makeup is a little runny, which I think is awesome, because, you know, the whole time he is kind of coming off of being beat up and captured by Batman, so I think that's awesome. But yeah, it actually reminds me, and Toyshiz made a great point in his video review of these figures, that it is kind of like an Assault on Arkham look combined with the video game, but it's great. He has that classic yellow and purple look. The pinstripes, while they're not painted on, it's almost like an optical illusion. You can't really see it that well in the, you know, from the video. You'll see it once we get him into the light box, but the pinstripes are actually not painted. There is the texturing there of the suit, very much so like the Marvel Legends Far From Home Spider-Man. Those details are not painted. So let's get into the articulation here. So the head, not much up, a noticeable look down, and of course, you know, he can go all the way around. He does have the hidden ab crunch underneath his vest, which is really nice. That joint is entirely hidden. You know, he has he can lean pretty far forward, and he can lean pretty far back. There is the double joint in there, the lower and the upper torso, so that gives him a nice range of motion. There is the pseudo butterfly joints in the shoulders, so he can go arms fully out, up. They do give way a little bit. You can see that double joint there. They do give way a little bit, so that way he can move his arm closer to his chest, which is awesome. He does have a double jointed elbow, and you get full response from that. Again, with the wrists, he can rotate at the wrist as well as pivot up and down. For the legs, J-Man can do the splits. Why you'd ever want him to, that's up to you. There is no thigh cut there. Again, an aesthetic. While some will scoff at it and say that it hurts the posability, I'm actually really happy with it aesthetically. It doesn't break up his pants in a strange way. It's good to have the bicep swivel up top, which is there, but I think that upper thigh cut on a figure like this isn't necessary. He does have a double jointed knee, and he can kick himself in the butt, which is awesome. Full range of motion there, which is good for those kind of like, if you have a flight stand, those like giddy, like little jig type dances he does. That's great. And of course you do have the rocker at the foot and the toe joint. All in all, I'm so happy to finally have this figure. It's just exciting. In terms of the accessories that he comes with, we get 3 along with the base and the card. We get a revolver style gun, which is very Joker-like, and we get a set of wind up teeth, 1 open, 1 closed. Those of you who know from the game, they factor in very heavily, and it is a nice throwback to the '89 Batman, of course. Now, on to Batman himself. So, a hulking figure. He's big. He's broad, just the way that he is in the video game. What's really neat about this figure, a lot of people take issue with the pupils, and I get it. Like, Batman's usually, except for some of the film versions, those are usually pure white. In the game, it makes sense. It does translate a little odd here. I do have to say that. While I don't hate it, I think they probably could have gone with the straight white and probably would have been okay. But I don't hate it. It still looks good. The detail on this figure is incredible. As always, McFarlane's cape game is always strong. It's a soft rubber. It's pliable. It's not going to get in the way. The way that it is draped over his shoulders looks fabric-like. It's tucked right into his cowl the way that it should be. It's fantastic. The detailing on this figure, like I mentioned, is crazy. The tech suit is... you'll see them really pop once we get it into the light box, but there are brushed metal textures on the gunmetal textures on the boots and the gauntlets. The belt is nice and weathered. There's a nice dark wash on it. Even the skin tone of his face, you can actually see an attempt was made there. He has a little bit of like stubble. The flesh tone is great. The bat symbol across his chest is sculpted. It's actually lifted off there. You can see it really good there. The detail is fantastic. I am very impressed. I love the profile with the long pointed ears. It's almost like Nightfall Batman. This Batman is kind of the best of a lot of different types of Batman combined together, and then that's one of the reasons why he's one of my favorites. So let's get into the articulation here. So his head, menacingly looking down. He can look up pretty high, substantially high. Of course, you get a little bit of a pivot left, a little bit of a pivot right, as well as full turns. Down to the shoulders, we do have again that like kind of sort of butterfly joint. He's very bulky, so those butterfly joints aren't going to let you do much past the chest piece here. You're going to get stopped when you come into the center by the pectorals. Nothing you can do about that. but you do get a really wide range of motion. You only have a single jointed elbow here, which is kind of disappointing, but again, you know, based on the bulk of the figure, a double jointed elbow is not really going to help you much get past those biceps and the giant gauntlets. So you know, that does kind of save you some space there. I'm not gonna lie, I like the way that you can move the hands, but the moment you lift them up for a pose, those ball joints are not hidden. They are right there in the open, and you can see them, and they are a little unsightly, bringing me back to the days of the Toy Biz Marvel Legends figures, where those ball joints were just out there in the open. But the good news is, if you do have him posed down, with his hands down, the gauntlets cover that pretty well. Let's see, he does have the double ab crunch, though his range of motion is kind of limited. That's about as far as you're going to lean forward. He will go back farther than he will go forward, and of course you can lean him to the left and to the right. There is that double joint, the one that's hidden below the belt. One of the other complaints about a lot of the Batman figures, Pryor looks like he is wearing a diaper. This Batman, they have fixed that. So the actual crotch piece here, for the lack of a better term, is tight. It isn't loose fitting. They made up the room up top as the belt is sculpted into that piece. So the utility belt, which is bulky as it should be, is hiding that kind of crime there and giving him that little bit of extra flexibility. So good job there. Batman can of course do the splits, super high kick. So, you know, Batman can do all of his super cool karate moves. He does have a double jointed knee, and he gets quite a bend out of it. It's very well done there on that bend. And then, much like the arms, he has the ball joints at the ankles, but unfortunately, with the ball joint at the ankles, they are really exposed. Like, I mean, there is some. It is like Gap City down there. I don't know if you can really see that, but yeah, there you go. You can actually see straight through his ankle and, you know, off the ball joint. So they didn't do a great job of hiding the articulation there at the bottom like they've done in some of the other figures. Yeah, but it is overall a fantastic figure. Mine is not loose in any way. He's not wobbly. I'm not worried about busting any of the pointed plastic here, because as you can see, there's some flex to it. So it's more like a sturdy rubber than it is a hard plastic. You know, if this guy takes a fall off the shelf, I'm not worried about him breaking off a ear point or you know, the spikes on his gauntlets. In terms of accessories, again, you get the platform, super handy to have, and you get Batman's card along with the description on the back. And then you actually get, with him, you get 4 accessories. So you get the grapple gun, which is massive, looks just like the one in the game. Again, the detail on this is fantastic. The brushed metal, all the different wires and pipes, and you can see where everything connects. It is it is very nice. They did a very nice job with it. You get his, I'm gonna go with smoke grenade. There are other types of grenades in the game. There's like an ice grenade as well, like a freeze grenade, which could be that. It doesn't explicitly say what it is, but it's cool. And then you get 2 batarangs. You get one in the folded pre-throw position, which is awesome, and then you get a fully extended batarang. My one caveat, I guess I would say, with the accessories is it would be really nice if there was a way to mount some of them on his utility belt. There is not. And I'm sure there's modders out there and customizers that can make that happen, but this is my only version of this figure, and I'd rather not start poking holes in his belt. But Batman and the Joker, they scale well together. The Joker is a tall, lanky thing in the game. He is just about the same height as Batman in the games, so that works. How they scale with other figures from the McFarlane stuff, we'll have to see once we get them in the light box. But just looking at Batman here, I think he's going to look great next to Superman and Nightwing. So, very cool. So like always, make sure you subscribe or like and follow us at AIC_podcast on Twitter and Instagram, where we're constantly posting toy news and some of the fun things that we find around the toy community. And while you're liking and following things, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there, so that way you don't miss videos like this about us talking about the toys that are going in depth in the toys that we talk about on Instagram, as well as the podcast. So find Adventures in Collecting wherever you find podcasts. We're live every other Monday, and we've always got fun stuff in the pipeline. If you like what you hear on the podcast and you want to be on the podcast, make sure you leave us a rating and review wherever you listen, so that way we can feature you on the show. And as an added bonus, if you mention your favorite toy, or just the toys that you're collecting, or a fun toy story that you have, we'll talk about that on the show too. So Batman and the Joker from McFarlane's DC Multiverse, I love them. Big thumbs up to Todd and Ty Butler, who's heading up the DC content. This is a marked improvement over the first wave. This is, so far, I think, the best Batman that they've done. The White Knight Batman might top this for a lot of people, but this Batman means a lot to me. So I was all in for this from the get-go. Thanks for watching.